Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to some more Broken Arrow stuff. Now, it is day 2 and probably battle number 10, 11, 12, I don't know how many battles I've had of this game. I've been grinding it hard. And grinding Broken Arrow hard does lead to depression, so don't do it too much, kids. Go get some fresh air, etc. Now, what is the best Broken Arrow Baltic deck? Well, before I go any further, I think it's very important to point out that the Baltics actually don't really pair up that well with anything. And to be honest, the classic combinations of, SF Striker, etc. are still very much the best American decks. But hey, the Baltics can be quite good fun. And essentially, here's the sort of three, and where's the fourth one? The fourth one that I've built, okay? So I've had to go with all of these. They have some decent moments in their own right. But essentially, we're going to talk about what I think the best one is. Now, let's be honest. These are fine. They work okay, but they lack in a lot of areas, which kind of makes them a bit annoying. Now, for example, so let me just quickly show you this one. The best part about the airborne Baltics is obviously that you get the next-gen line infantry. These are the best line infantry in the game. But what I really like is the combination of the Leopard, supported by the M8 Thunderbolt. These seem to pair up rather well, in my opinion. Yeah, so they just support the tanks really well, but ultimately that's not enough to make this deck fantastic. Just like with the Striker, you get some Leopards, which are good, supported by the MGs. But ultimately, yeah, we all know that the Bookers are fantastic in their current state. They're very good too. However, the best decks that I think are paired with the Special Forces and the Marines, but they're very situational. If you need a hard-hitting frontline deck, this is your go-to. So this is the deck that I'll be exploring in more detail. But if you want flanky or sneaky beaky play, then by far this is the most phenomenal deck in the game. So, the best Baltic deck overall, though, has got to be the one that you pair with the Marines, and this is the one that I want to show off to you today. So we will, as always, start with the Recon tab, and what I want to start off with is actually the Scimitar, because good old British engineering is obviously British bias whenever that comes out. I'm sure it'll be in the game. No, just kidding. It's not actually that great a vehicle, but I just love it. I really enjoy using it, and 75 points, it's not too expensive either. It just works pretty well, pretty decent speed, and I like it. Now again, I don't think it's phenomenal by any means, but it's just fun. It's fun to use. The ST Scouts, I've gone for these. Obviously, we all know that you've got these options. The SUV are like a pararescue squad. If you want to use them like that, then feel free to do so. But I really like the Spike. The Spike is a bit hit and miss, but I do like it overall. I potentially argue that the Jaegerists are better, but with Carl Gustav, etc. But the Spike just has, I don't know, it's a bit annoying for Russian players to play against, and that's why I like it. Obviously, you pair it with the long-range Spike that, can transport them quite comfortably in the back of the Spartan, which is, by the way, a scimitar without the turret. Yeah, that works really well too. It is a good, nifty little speedy, by the way, very speedy vehicle. Maybe a bit too fast. I mean, it is, surely it can't keep up with Lav. Falcon is in there. I probably should have another Falcon squad. Probably would pair up nicely with the SD Scouts. You know what? Actually, that's a very good point. It does pair up nicely, so we'll have 3 of these, 2 of these. The AT4s for the more closer range direct fire stuff, and these guys for a bit of the more longer range stuff. I transported it in by a Lav, because the Lav is obviously quite decent. Yeah, I do like the Lav. It's very good, especially when you do flankerini missions, which, as you might already know, I do very much enjoy. We've got the Wolf, which is a Landy, British engineering once again. It's just a very fast transport. I don't really use it too much. We've got the K&T. Now, I've only put them in here. I didn't think they're actually useful, but I've put them in because maybe when you're using a water deck, you should have swimming units. I mean, they are like the Baltic SEAL team, right? And they've got some credit. This will do really well in CQB. But otherwise, yeah, it is like the PDSS, ultimately a little bit useless. Scout Snipers. Right, Scout Snipers. We have got the cheapest snipers in the game, and I really enjoy using them. I always have. They are snipers. You gotta have them. You can't win the game without these grassy knolls. IFAV. Okay, so the reason I've got the IFAVs in, and the Wolf by the way, which obviously they have the same speed, is to do a really light armored, really fast flankaroonie with these G-Wagons. So they're all basically the same sort of vehicle, same speed, they can keep up together, and if you put them all together, they work really well. It works better with the Special Forces because they have the Mark 47, which can, of course, take out helicopters, but we've got pure runs to stick in those vehicles as a bit of extra help. But very cheap if you throw them away on the flank to try and get lucky, to try and sneak through, and hopefully destroy some backline MLRS or AA, then these guys work really well. So yeah, that's why you have this weird combination of all of those vehicles. Now, when we look at our infantry, the Marines are still the ultimate front line infantry. Okay, so yeah, okay, the next generation weapons are the best general line infantry. These are the good, heavy front line infantry kind of squad. Because obviously we all know that the AT4s they have an abundance of, they're very tough, very hard to kill. Although, having said that, they're obviously a little bit easier to kill with the update, meaning that larger squads take more damage, as they should. I mean, if a grenade goes off in the middle, it's going to damage all of these guys heavily. You know, the more there are, the more damage they should take. If they're spread out and there's only 5 of them, yeah, there should be a bit less damage. It does make perfect sense. We've got an ACV to help transport these guys into hot zones. Otherwise, for transport, usually I will use the MTV off again, troops in on the ground. Now, we all know that the Marines are perfectly suited to the small teams. They pair very well together. Notice that I'm talking about the Marines first because, I'll be honest, they are just better than the Baltic units overall. Now, we've also got the Marines CQC. They don't really need an introduction. They will rip apart any squad in a forest or any squad in a building. There's nothing Russia can really do to stop these guys apart from 2 CQB squads. And even then, these have a very good chance of winning nonetheless. They're a bit difficult to transport, but again, MTVRs do the job just fine. You can put Falcon in them. No need to resort to the AAVP. It is way too slow, and yeah, there's no need to resort to it. We've got the Spike. More spikes because of that very good range for top-down attack missiles. They are still quite effective. An alternative consideration, which I would actually recommend that you try, I mean, so the difference is 15 points between the Cat Javelin and the Spike. You do sacrifice some range, but you get a much tougher squad. So the Spike is 4 men at 6 armor. They're going to get killed very, very quickly if they get found. The aiming time is a bit slow, 3 to 4 seconds, which is the same as the Javelin. But again, you get a much beefier 8-man squad with 8 armor, 50 cal, and M240, so very good support there as well. I think I've just been using the Spike a lot just to try it, really. But ultimately, I think it's probably worth exchanging it for this squad, which I'm going to keep trying the Spikes out more. But I think eventually I will change to this squad instead. Again, just because of how tough it is and how much good firepower it has. Like, again, you still got 6 M27s, which can do a lot of damage to infantry in buildings as well. So, a much better all-rounder right there. Zemesardze. Maybe the Home Guard. I'm not too sure on the translation. Yeah, okay, so these are all actually very good options. Casp is actually probably the worst option overall. I don't think they're that effective at all. Zemesade are good because of the Carl-Gustaf of M2. It is basically like the Raws. They're very, very similar in stats, tiny bit different, but ultimately very, very similar indeed. I mean, they look the same as well. So if you want a jump out anti-tank squad that's got an MG3, by the way, so it's still a very effective machine gun, still very good. The rifles are a bit, but this is the squad to go with. I probably don't need it though, because we've got enough jump out RPG guys with the Marines. What's better is probably anti-infantry, but again, I probably don't need it because I've got the Marine Raiders. Jump out anti-infantry because they fire HE shells and you just keep spamming them out as well. So between these three, they're all just cheap squads that you can spam out. So I'd be tempted to go for this 600 meter range with 450 bazooka range kind of squad, just as a little bit of extra help. So they're 5 guys. If you pair them with a Marine squad, you just get a bit of extra firepower, or, you know, a CQC squad. Just get a bit of extra firepower for barely any money whatsoever. But again, assaultmen small, they do the job much better. So there we go. XA160. 4 guys, 4 will fit into 2 vehicles. And you do want the upgrade, not only because it looks really cool with the little unicorn that it's got up there, but also because you get the smoke. Without it, you do not get the smoke. And that's actually quite useful for getting your infantry into the right place. Pure runs. I think they're the best manpad in the game. They are the same as the Verba. This has got more range, but not as much damage, so it's not as good. This is a Verba. Verbas are the best manpad in the game. Use those. They also look cool for the helmets. CV90. Now, CV90's got. I really want to love these, but I'm struggling. There's a lot going for them. APS, Spike, Bushmaster 3, which it gets in either configuration, to be fair. I wish it was just a 40mm cannon, and I like it a lot more. But the problem is, it's not that quick. The 8-man infantry capacity is absolutely fine, but in this configuration, it doesn't really match anything apart from assaultmen. The S-Soft can't even fit into it, which is a bit annoying. They obviously have to get into the Vilkas. But yeah, a lot of people are saying that the best way to use this is just like this with the armor upgrade. You definitely need the armor upgrade, just because it gives you a lot more protection from RPGs, etc. But yeah, the CV90 does work pretty damn well. I think in this cheap configuration, it's just a bit too expensive and a bit underwhelming for the price. S-Soft. Right, I'm a bit torn with this unit. I could make it a CQB unit, but again, we've got the Marines. They do the job better for the same price. We could have it, sorry, that's the CQB version. Or some extra bazookas, which again, yeah, I mean, the Marines do it better anyway, and they're a lot tougher and more resistant. So is there really much point for the S-Soft squad? I'm not sure. Essentially, in this deck, you could quite easily, apart from the pure run, which is essential, that's the only critical Baltic squad that you need. You don't really need the Baltics and the infantry tab. You have a very good set of infantry with the Marines on their own. You're just supplementing it with extra long-range top-down attack missiles. Yeah, but not much else. These are, by the way, only super useful in high-rise buildings. That's where they excel. But again, otherwise, at far range, of course, but otherwise they're just quite easy to dodge. And the terminal guidance on these missiles when you lose line of sight is just not very good. I know that's a broken arrow fault, not these guys' fault, but it's just way too easy to lose tracking. A bit frustrating, actually, to be honest. So there we go. That's the infantry tab. Quickly to mention the Vilkas. The Vilkas is actually quite good in this configuration with the Spike. It is directly comparable to the Boomerang. Yeah, I'm not too sure the Spike is that good, but the APS works just fine. It is definitely worth it, but you could also quite happily run this as a cheap, very quick Spike launcher. So just get it into firing position, smoke, retreat, reload, etc. But I quite like the APS on it too. Cool. Lots of infantry to consider there. Vehicles. Now, again, what I really like as well with this combination is the fact that the Leopard pairs really well with this M1A1 because of the same speed. Obviously, you put the Leopard in front because it's got more armor and APS, whereas this with the 30% ECM, which is actually quite effective, especially with the lack of Russian terminal guidance weapons for dealing with tanks. These two work really, really well together. They complement each other really, really well. You do get the good gun from both of these. They both got pretty similar firepower. Yeah, just fantastic vehicles, especially when you put them together. The Leopard is, for the price, the best tank in the game. For the price. I'll stand by that. You can actually make it even cheaper, of course, but it's maybe not worth it. Right, these types, yeah, they're, I don't know, they're just weird. It's the first robot in the game, which is cool, of course, but it's just not that good. They're very fragile as well, very flimsy, very easy to kill. So, yeah, I'm trying these. I'm experimenting with them, but so far, my consensus is big fat no. But hey, they're not that expensive, so you may as well throw a couple in. I do actually prefer the Lav just because it seems to work better, but perhaps you should use these like a Lav, where, you know, camouflage position, throw your Spike out, and yeah. But at the same time, the Lav I mainly use for anti-infantry tow missiles, which I think is its better use. So there we go. Last but not least is this bad boy. Now, Again, if you've watched this channel before, you know that I love these, not because they're good, but just because of this absolute mega massive new tube cannon. 165 mils, it's basically got an RT cannon for a tank. It does a lot of good damage to infantry squads, rips them apart massively. And it can one-shot quite a lot of vehicles as well, which is actually very useful. Yeah, it's super slow, super painful. You wait forever for it to get on the battlefield. You do need at least 2 or 3 of these together, otherwise they will get ripped to shreds. But otherwise, I really like the vehicle. I suppose with these prices, you know, if you spam out a lot of cheap ones of these, by the way, you do need these in pair, like I say, just because these aren't reliable enough. You do need the direct hit to do more damage to vehicles. So at least pair them, but they're even better in a 3. And yeah, by the way, get them in the line of fire, shoot, smoke, retreat. The Milan, just a cheap vehicle, I've already explained it. Right, the other reason why this combination with the Baltics is the best, because you still get your pack 2. Now, the other places that you can get a pack 3 are Striker, and it does actually work quite well in that position. Or, of course, the Cavalry, so as in the Armoured Cavalry. Now, Baltics does not pair well at all with the Cavalry, the Armoured Cav, because it's just a terrible combination. You don't have any aircraft, which is America's advantage, and you don't have any decent helicopters either, so yeah, you lose America's best advantage. Don't do that. Nasams, yeah, it's just like a Slam Ram. It's exactly the same price. It's okay. It gives you a bit more extra range. It's decent when it comes to that, but ultimately, there's not too much to write home about. MTVR's very, very good, super good troop transport, good speed on it as well, so I like it a lot. There's your big supply dump guy. I love AD. People are very familiar with this already. It is still fantastic. I would actually potentially consider taking one of these out and sticking another Lav AD in. That is a really good alternative if you wish. But I'll leave that up to you guys, whether you want to do that. Yeah, it is fantastic. Catfay. Now, yeah, if you want to delete Grid Square, the Catfay is the vehicle for you. It works really, really well. It is just really good, especially when you get 2 of them. You're going to kill a lot of Russian infantry. It is like the TOS, but much cheaper. And much less range, but again, it's much cheaper, so do you care if you lose it? Not really. Very good vehicle. K9 is the RT of choice that I have gone for, and I've got very mixed feelings about the K9. I think it is very, very pathetic, I'll be honest. It's very slow to reload. The laser-guided rounds are good, but you only get 6 of them, so it's not a lot at all. You might potentially be... sorry, I'm starting to know my words a little bit. It's been a long day. There's been a lot of Broken Arrow battles. You might potentially be better off going for the Panzer Haubitze 2000 with the cluster rounds. I stress that if you're going to use this, put the cluster rounds on it. You're just going to have to keep peppering vehicles if you can with this thing. Or if you want to fire non-stop, then I suppose you can go for the HE version, but it's not really worth it. If you want slow firing HE, then this is your guy. The K9, it's okay. It is a good all-rounder, which is why I keep it, because you do get some smoke in it, and you do get the laser-guided shells, but it's really far from ideal. I'm not the biggest fan of this vehicle at all. But very good range. There you go. It's like a coalition that fires slower. Helicopters. Alright, obviously, almost all these helicopters are, apart from this guy, is the only exception. I don't really know why I have them in the game. I mean, you're probably much, much better off getting a Super Stallion or even a King Stallion, which is obviously a buffed version of a Super Stallion. Essentially, the Baltic helicopters aren't that good. They're fine, there's nothing wrong with them, but there's nothing too exciting about them either. I do like the idea of using GMGs shooting out of helicopter windows. I just think that's cool, but it's not very necessary and definitely not worth the 10 points to upgrade it. So, yeah, I don't really use this. The ECM is good, but not that good, so it's kind of pointless as well. Obviously, Osprey is the one that brings all the goodies, all the supply, and lots of infantry rounds back very, very quickly as well. I do love the Osprey. It is a great unit. Super Cobra. Now this is my Sidewinder helicopter because Sidewinders are super good on helicopters. Now there's not many of them, which is a shame. That is a big shame indeed. But if you just want a quick in and out, shoot some helis down, this is your guy. If you pair them with this guy and stick some sidearms on it, so anti-radiation, hopefully kill a Tor or Panzer or something, it just gives you a bit of extra protection whilst you're doing your attack. Then this is your go-to. Venom, do put the miniguns and the hot rockets on it. It does actually improve it significantly. Exactly, when we compare the, Black Hawk, or the Blue Hawk in this case, to the Venom, there's not too much difference, and obviously you get Hydras and miniguns on this instead. Yeah, 5 less, yeah, there's a trade-off, I get it, but ultimately, I quite like this, because once you've done dropping off the whatever you need to drop off, you've still got decent vision on this, by the way, as well. You go and do a cheap attack with Hydras, and then you retreat. So very, very good trading unit. You could do this, but yeah, the Venom does it much, much better. Yeah, stick to the Venom. Venom is your friend in this situation. Aircraft. Okay, again, not the strongest part of the deck, but you still get F-35Bs, which are fantastic at taking out Russian spammy stuff like the MLRS, AA, and etc, etc, etc. People know what the F-35 is, I shouldn't talk about it too much. The Prowler. The Prowler gives your F-35 a bit of cover. Now, AA has gotten a little bit of an increase in it's capability, but it's still pretty useless. So I wouldn't rely on it too much. It's very disappointing. Look, having played 2.0, which I can't tell you any information about, but when AA actually works and when tanks actually work, the game is so different that, yeah, all of this goes out the window. We've got some Mavericks on the F-18D. I actually really like this configuration. It's very good, just because you get the speed that you don't get on the Harrier or on basically, the slower, less effective planes. So this does a really good job of going fast and then after burning out of the area as well. It's got 10% ECM, so it's fairly survivable, again, especially if you do have a Prowler up. Here's the alternative, the Harrier with the Mavericks, but again, this is only for when the enemy pushes really through your front line, when you've got not much else to lose. I only put this in because I couldn't squeeze in much else. I don't want a second Prowler, I don't think it's worth it. But yeah, there we go. I just squeezed it in just because I could. You could do a Paradrop plane if you wished. If you're going to choose one of these, then go for the Spartan for sure, just because of that ECM, meaning it will be a bit more survivable. But obviously a lot less troops. But hey, potentially worth it. You do have some good special forces units that can parachute out. Not many, mind you. Actually, shit, no. In the infantry, it's just these two, isn't it? Yeah, because I haven't put the other parachutey troops out there. Okay, maybe not then. Maybe if you go for the special forces combination, then that's better. So I will quickly show you the special forces combo. And it's just got much better everything, but where you lack is in a bit of the long range AA. The vehicles is a bit lacking as well, but yeah, infantry is fantastic, as are your helicopters and air force. So yeah, especially Recon, it is quite unstoppable with the amount of these guys paired with these guys that you can spam out. So that is why this is best for flanks, and the water Baltics, as I've called it, are the best for your front line heavy tough infantry kind of operations. So there you go. You know what? I will swap this out. I wasn't going to, but it's just this squad is so much better. I don't see why you wouldn't prefer to have these. And yeah, okay, we have to sacrifice Vilkas, but to be honest, I'm not that bothered with it. They don't seem to be. I don't seem to do too well with them. So there we go. I mean, you still get your CV90 with the Bushmaster. So there you go. This is the way to go, lads. Trust me. I'm an expert. Kind of, not really. Yeah, that'll do. Hope you enjoyed watching. This is the deck that I've got for you. I think this is the best general or frontline Baltic pairing that you can do, and this is the best flanky one. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you use these. By the way, the deck file's in the Discord as always, and the link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.